Hey guys, it's Nadia from LiaDia Designs here, and we're back with another video. Today we're making a swirly flower tray. So those of you who have already seen my swirly flower tutorial where I made a two-tier stand, this is going to be very similar to that, but instead we're making a very large tray. So this tray mold is about 13 inches in diameter, and it's quite deep. It's almost half an inch deep. So it does take a lot of resin if you want to fill it. You don't always have to fill it, but a lot of times I find that for the techniques that I'm using and just the overall look that I want, I do fill it almost 3/4. So in order to fill it that, to that level, I mix approximately 28 ounces of resin in order to get it to be about 3/4 of the way full. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I mixed about 1.5 ounces to 2 ounces of my resin with an iridescent glitter. It's purple, almost like a lilac color, and it reflects green and some pink. So what I do is I just want to mix enough of that so that I can pour it around the edges of the mold. Then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pour about another ounce to 1.5 ounces in my cup that you'll see on the left there, and that is just mixed with some white pigment paste, and then I pour the remaining amount of my resin into the tray. Now I want to work quickly here because there is quite a bit of resin that's going to be sitting in that cup, so I want to make sure that I'm pouring it out quickly so that it doesn't start overheating, because as we know, if we leave a lot of resin sitting in a cup, that it will start to overheat much quicker than it does if it's separated into smaller cups or if it's dispersed in a larger, in this case, a tray. So once I get that done, then I'm going to heat it with my heating gun, and just basically again to get rid of all the bubbles. So as much as possible, because we don't really want any bubbles in this tray if possible. So we're going to go around and heat the resin and try to get as many bubbles as possible out. Once we get the bubbles out, the next thing I want to do is I'm going to add some silver foil to the center. And again, I'm doing this immediately after I've poured it. So we are going to be leaving this to sit for a little while, but I want to make sure I have my foil already in place before we let it sit. So I'm going to add that now. Once the foil is set in place, then what we're going to do is we're going to leave this to sit for about 10 to 15 minutes. If you're not sure if your resin has the same timing as mine, then you can check out my video. It's called Timing Your Resin. I'll include it at the end of this video where you can click through to that, and it'll just allow you to know what the time frame that you need to wait, because every resin is a little bit different. So for mine, I know that it's about especially for a tray this size, it's going to be 10 to 15 minutes, because we know that the more resin there is in a tray, the shorter the waiting time, just because we know that the resin will want to cure faster when there's a lot more resin involved. So once we've waited about our 10 to 15 minutes, I'm going to go in with my pigmented white resin, and I'm going to make these petal shapes. And I'm using a paintbrush here, so I'm actually kind of almost like drawing the petals in the resin. So it's not touching the bottom of the tray, but it's actually going through the resin and putting the pigment inside. I'm working quickly here because once the resin starts setting, it does set very quickly, especially in these large molds. So you want to work quickly, and we don't need to be super neat with this style just because we're going to be swirling it anyway. So we're just trying to get the pigment in as quickly as possible so we don't end up in a situation where the resin hardens on us in the midst of the design. So once I get these petals in, then I'm going to start swirling. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to actually let you guys watch it. It's been sped up as a little bit of a time lapse, so you can take a look at that and watch the process here. And then I'll see you on the other side. So as you can see, we're almost done here where we've swirled through the flower petals to make this really neat kind of swirly shape. It's almost like a hurricane or, spinning and twirling. So we're going to get this finished up here, and then what we'll do is we will heat it with a little bit of heat from the heat gun, and then it will sit overnight to cure. So once that is set, we'll unmold it in the morning. So it's the next morning and we are ready to unmold our tray. I just love how the iridescent sparkles here are just so glittery, and they reflect in all these different colors. It's so pretty. All right, so we're almost through getting the mold off, and there we go. And we'll flip it over to see how it looks. All right, so it looks actually very similar to the back, but which is great. So there we go, and I hope you guys like this design and this tray. And if you do, please leave a like and a comment, and don't forget to subscribe. And let me know if there's more tutorials like this that you guys would like to see. And we'll see you next time. Thanks, guys. Take care. Bye.